First Man was directed by Damien Chazelle, and once again we have the combination of Chazelle directing and Ryan Gosling starring. In case you didn't already know, First Man is the story of Neil Armstrong's journey to becoming the first man to step foot on the moon. I'm a mega fan of Damien Chazelle. La La Land and Whiplash are two of my favorite movies of all time. So when I saw he was directing a new movie titled First Man, I became instantly ecstatic to see how this movie would turn out. Space movies are kind of my thing. I would call myself a buff of the sci-fi genre. This isn't sci-fi, however, it's just a space movie about Neil Armstrong and his journey going to the moon. I'll say I was captivated from the beginning of this movie. This is one of the best looking films of the year and is a technical masterpiece. Let's get into the performances because I always start out with the performances in every movie. Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy are both tremendous in their starring roles. Their chemistry on the screen was pinpoint too. They bounced off each other very well. The cast from the bottom to the top was one of the best casts of 2018. Not only does this movie include both Foy and Gosling, but also the likes of Jason Clarke, Kyle Chandler, Corey Stoll. It's a great cast. Ryan Gosling gave another reason for why he is one of my favorite actors working today. This guy is so good every time he's in front of the camera. One of the most off-putting things for myself with pre-production for First Man was how Chazelle, a director known for his musical movies, would be helming a film not about music, not centering around music. It was a risk, but a risk worth taking. First Man is one of my favorite movies of the entire year. Damien Chazelle nailed this film to its core despite the fact that it did not center around music for once. The special effects, the practical effects, by watching First Man, I couldn't tell the difference. It all looks so authentic and real, which is one of the best aspects of First Man. This movie is a visual masterpiece, which you would expect from a director like Christopher Nolan. Might not expect that as much from a director like Damien Chazelle, but he certainly proved that he can take over a film that has these effects layered throughout. First Man just came off as an interesting movie. Right away, I was interested. I was into this film. I wanted to know how this all came to be, how Neil Armstrong went from being a guy at the beginning of the film to the guy he was at the end of the film walking on that moon. The story of how we got to the moon and our space war against the Soviet Union was all very intriguing to me. The music in this movie was once again composed by Justin Hurwitz, who you know from La La Land, Whiplash, and this is one of the best scores of the entire year. Taking a look back on the scores from 2018, I would say this movie's score rivals that of Annihilation. These two are hand in hand for the best score of the year in my opinion. The space scenes are what drive this movie. They are nail-biting, intense, emotional, everything you want from a space scene. One scene in particular with Neil Armstrong in space where you think he's on the brink of dying. That scene alone was a standout to me. What a job well done that scene was. People will also grow to appreciate the underlying messages this film provides. The film centers more around Neil Armstrong's family instead of focusing more on the space mission itself. And you get these messages. Is this mission worth it? A lot of people died in the process of getting to the moon, and Ryan Gosling's character, Neil Armstrong, might have to put his life on the line just to achieve that mission. So you have these moral conflictions brought up in the film with whether or not this space mission is really worth it in the long run. To me, that message came off as repetitive, but they were able to grasp that concept and execute it to its full. First Man has a lot of great positives you can take away from it, and overall, it's a very good watch. Still, I would say it's my least favorite out of Chazelle's 3 theatrical movies, and there's reasons for that. This movie does have an interesting story attached to it, but in some cases it's not always interesting. Sometimes I wondered when we would be getting back to the best scenes in the movie, but the movie does lose itself a little bit and you're not always as intrigued by the movie's plot. You can become bored by all of this space talk. It's one of those films you have to pay attention to in order to understand every moment that's happening in the film. Believe me, I know a lot of space movies are like this, but First Man didn't do everything as well as other space movies like Apollo 13 and Interstellar. This movie did not keep me as interested in what's happening on the screen compared to those movies as much. And Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong was great, but his performance came off as somewhat bland. He was a bit boring in the film. There wasn't much to Neil Armstrong in First Man. There were some scenes where he showed his range and his greatness in acting, but other scenes, he's just kind of there and doesn't say much. That's usually how Ryan Gosling is in all of his movies, but it didn't make the movie any more exciting. It did not help whatsoever. Leaving the theater, I still found First Man to be one of the best movies of the year from a technical standpoint and from a direction standpoint. The performances were all great from top to bottom, one of the best scores of the year. This movie has a great shot at making my top 10 list when 2018 is all said and done. I'm giving First Man an 85%. I say go ahead and watch this film. It's not as good as La La Land or Whiplash, but Damien Chazelle proved that he is one of the best directors working today, and this guy is still really young. If he's this good already, I cannot imagine what this guy will be making 20 years from now. He has so much potential. For those of you who also saw First Man, let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. Now we have a little bit of downtime. There isn't much coming out until November starts, but I am really looking forward to that month. It's going to be a great month for movies. Until then, I will be sure to pump out a few more videos to keep you guys entertained as always. If you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.